O-Level Biology 5090, Chapter 17, Inheritance, Part 3, and the topic is Selection. First of all, natural selection. Students, you know that there is competition among the different species of animals and plants for reproduction, for food, for shelter, and for their habitat. So in this way, I would like to say that the best suited species are always selected by the nature, and those species which are adapted to their environment. If there is any change in the environment, they will be best fitted to that environment, and in that case, those species will inherit their characteristics to the next generation. So in this way, we can say that nature will select those species who are always best fitted in the changed environment. So they will survive, they will reproduce, and then they will inherit their characteristics to the new generations. And I just want to say more about natural selection, that through this process of natural selection, favorable traits which are best suited, transmitted through generations, natural selection can lead to the speciation, or new species can originate by this natural selection, where one species give rise to a new and distinctly different species. That if one species is surviving, and then that species with the native species, it will crossbreed with the native species, then in that case, the new species can be originated. So this is one of the process that drives evolution and helps to explain the diversity of life on Earth. So this is the best way to originate the variations on Earth. And the evolution is also the source of variations. The evolution is the process which takes place with the passage of time. So it will take generations to proceed. Now, how the evolution is originated by natural selection. Evolution is the change in inherited traits in a population species from one generation to the next. So evolution will take place generation after generation. So it will take many generations. And natural selection states that those individuals who are better adapted to their current environment will survive better and therefore pass on these traits to the next generation. So only those species which are best fitted in the changed environment, they will be able to inherit their characteristics to their next generation. Other species which are not fit in the environment, in the changed environment, they are will not survive on Earth, and they will be finished. Natural selection makes a population better adapted to the environment over times and make harmful traits appear less frequently. So with the passage of time, the beneficial characteristics will be appeared, or the harmful characteristics, you can say, will disappear from the earth. So in this way, evolution is involved in the process of natural selection. Now the next is how antibiotic resistance is developed. Antibiotics, are used to kill the microorganisms, um, or the different types of bacteria. You can say the microorganisms, specifically the bacteria. So some of the bacteria that make us sick get better at defending themselves against antibiotics, meaning resistant bacteria are harder to kill. This is called antibiotic resistance. Sometimes when we take in the antibiotics against these bacteria, so what happens at that time, some of the bacteria are not killed. You can say out of 100%, 1% or 2% of the bacteria are those which can develop the resistance against that um, antibiotic. So with the passage of time, those bacteria, they multiply in the body, and as a result of that multiplication, so multiplication, they will form a population. and the whole population will have a resistance against that antibiotic. So the resistant bacteria start to multiply, making our antibiotics less and less effective. So in this way, the resistance is produced in the um, bacteria against any antibiotic. And these changes are transferred to the next generations. Then the other type of selection is called as selective breeding or selective, or you can say the artificial selection. So selective breeding is the process by which humans use animal breeding and plant breeding. So this process can be adopted in both animals and in plants to selectively develop particular phenotypic traits. Phenotypic traits or the characteristics you can say, which can be chosen by the human beings to get the beneficial animals and plants. So by choosing which typically animals or plant males and females will sexually reproduce and have offsprings together, farmers and breeders allowed only the plants and animals with desirable characteristics to reproduce, causing the evolution of farm stock. So in this way, the farmers can get the uh, animals and plants of their own choice. And this process is called artificial selection because people select which organism get to reproduce. Nature will not select in this case, so the organisms will be selected by the human beings, and the or those organisms will be selected that will have a beneficial characteristics. This is evolution through artificial selection. And here I would like to give some examples of the plants which can be obtained by the artificial selection. So here is a, you can say mustard plant, the selection for leaves. If we select its leaf to grow, so the new type of plant can be grown, which is kale. And for from stem and flowers, broccoli is produced, and then from selection for flower clusters, so the cauliflower is can be you can sow the reproduced, and for selection for terminal buds, so from the terminal buds cabbage can be reproduced, and selection for lateral buds the Brussels sprouts can be reproduced. So from stem, the kohlrabi can be reproduced. So in this way, you can see the different varieties of cabbage are grown from one plant. So this is the best example for artificial selection. So anyone who wants to grow the cauliflower, so he will use the different method to grow these different types of uh, plants from one parent plant. And when we want to give an example from selective breeding in case of animals, here on screen you can see Brahman cattle, good resistant to heat but poor meat. Brahman cattle has good resistance to heat but poor meat. But on the other hand, English shorthorn cattle, good beef but poor heat resistance. Both of they have the distinct characteristics. One has poor meat, another has good meat. One has poor resistance to heat, and the other has uh, good resistance to heat. So in this way, the cross breeding or the selective breeding can take place, and there will be the formation of a cattle with good beef, good beef, and good resistance to heat. Resistance to heat. So in this way, the organisms or the animals can be reproduced by selective breeding. Now, role of artificial selection in the production of economically important plants and animals. From one plant, many plants can be grown. From one organisms, the different species can be originated. So, in this way, economically important plants and animals are grown from the by using this method of artificial selection. So, benefits of selective breeding include new varieties may be economically important, but producing more or better quality food. So quality of food can be improved, and the you can say the other characteristics of the organisms which are beneficial, so they can be you can say reproduced by the this method of artificial selection. And the selective breeding in aquaculture produce remarkable economic benefits to the industry. So beneficial method, the primary one being that it reduces production cost. Production cost can be reduced and turnover rate can be increased. So when selective breeding is carried out, some characteristics are lost for others that may suit a specific environment or situation. Here, you can say, first of all, the better quality food can be obtained by this method of artificial selection. Secondly, the benefits to the industry, yes, that is the low cost production because there will be the fast turnout rate. So in this way, it is very economically very important that we are able to get the organisms of our required or beneficial characteristics. So all those characteristics which are beneficial for humans, or you can say for the environment, they can be selected by this method. So in this way, I would like to say that artificial selection has a vital role in the selection of economically important plants and animals. So students, it was all about the selection. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.